Let's get it. Shots were fired on May 24th of this year when George R.R. Martin uploaded a post to his Not-a-blog titled The Adaptation Tango. The post was inspired by the show Shogun, which you can find on Hulu, and I strongly recommend that you do. It's really fantastic. Leading up to how amazing it was, Martin reaffirmed some remarks he has made before about adaptations. Quote, "If anything, things have gotten worse. Everywhere you look, there are more screenwriters and producers eager to take great stories and make them their own. It does not seem to matter whether the source material was written by Stan Lee, Charles Dickens, Ian Fleming, Roald Dahl, Ursula K. Le Guin, J.R.R. Tolkien, Mark Twain, Raymond Chandler, Jane Austen, or, well, anyone. No matter how major a writer it is, no matter how great the book, there always seems to be someone on hand who thinks he can do it better, eager to take the story and improve on it. The book is the book, the film is the film, they will tell you as if they were saying something profound. Then they make the story their own. They never make it better, though. 999 times out of 1,000, they make it worse. Once in a while, though, we do get a really good adaptation of a really good book, and when that happens, it deserves applause." Then he went on to talk about that 1 out of 1,000, which is Shogun. If I can find some other recent great television, I'll do a positive compilation video because there is good entertainment out there. It's just hard to find. That'll be outside of an Arcane Season 1 recap coming soon because everyone needs to be excited about Season 2. There's also some good news about the audience starting to be served properly, which we'll get to at the end of this video. But for now, let's look at that opening remark, which would be dangerous to read aloud in most movie studios because George's statement is kind of like linguistic sunlight to those vampires. There is also some tactile sunlight. That's you pushing the like button to help my channel grow. Botany jokes! Nothing in the cup today, just this refillable bottle from the local soda plant that makes Ski Soda. They're not paying me, it's just full of sugar, and it's delicious. And I'm a little tired, a little wired. For some time now, we, the audience, have been adrift on a Wonka-esque brown river of entertainment, though it's certainly not chocolate. Naturally churned up by the immovable rocks of ego and selfishness, this frothy flow is extremely unpleasant.
Oh, this smells like shit.
It is shit, Austin.
That self-centered hubris is the real cause of garbage entertainment today. We keep hearing the refrain again and again, "It's not for you." And we're starting to see that statement is true, but perhaps not in the way that some of us thought. Like, I took it to mean that these terrible products are for the mysterious and skittish cryptids, the modern audience that never seems to show up to support these horribly produced efforts. But I'm now seeing that it's not entirely that. When you hear "it's not for you," the "you" means everyone. Because these shows and movies are being made only for their creators. These writers and directors are essentially creating high-budget diaries. They are being handed existing properties and millions of dollars to then auto-fillet on our screens. Entertainment can't be selfish. If entertainment is to be good, it has to be a service. I'm familiar with this concept. In our dynamic, you and I'm always in the less powerful position. I can't make you watch me. I have to convince you to stay with consistent service. Through revealing analysis, comedic entertainment, and a little fatherly wisdom, each video is designed to serve you. If a time comes when I make a video entirely for myself, chances are extremely high that you're not going to watch it. And why would you? It's for me. But that's precisely what we're seeing. The recent Star Wars Acolyte was an actual therapy session for its creator, and that's based on interviews with the showrunner herself. She talks about girls breaking free from their fathers, who are sexist, by the way, for wanting to protect their children, and how she relates to the dark side. She talks about fights with her sister. That's how she understands the dynamic of the two twin characters. She talks about a speech the villain gives and how she wrote it from her own perspective as a woman and lesbian. She talks about how she views lightsabers as phallic symbols and based so much of the imagery in the show around that.
You need help.
That show wasn't for you because it was for her. There are plenty of technical issues with modern writing, but I would say the number one issue with most productions today is that they are selfish. They aren't designed to give you what you want. For a contrast, take the recent Deadpool and Wolverine. There are many critiques to make about this movie, okay? As a movie, it's not very good. The whole anchor being concept is goofy. The injected drama with a forced attempt at hero redemption for Wolverine number 18273, I don't really know what universe he's from. The attempted realization by Deadpool that he doesn't need external validation and friendship is really magic or whatever. These ideas did not land at all. And I had a great time watching it. I would actually watch it again. I found it to be extremely entertaining. On a technical level, some of the writing is pretty bad. However, it was clear that the folks making this wanted to bring you a good time. They wanted to bring back some old characters and have fun with them. It never felt like a key jangle to bring back Blade or Chambit. It felt like everyone involved was having fun, and they wanted to have fun with you. They knew what the audience wanted, and they gave it to them. And it's now the second highest grossing film of the year, and the highest grossing R-rated film of all time. And for whatever it's worth, it's the tomato meter, popcorn meter, whatever, that's high as well. Many people have noticed these trends, that movies and shows lately don't feel good. They feel ambivalent or outright antagonistic toward the audience sometimes. And there's always some defender of this slop who will tell you that it's in your head. You dumb culture warriors, you anti-woke morons, you istophobes. Most entertainment consumers don't spend their time reading and watching interviews with the creators, but since I'm trying to analyze this crap professionally, I do. And I can tell you, it is eye-opening. Recently, I made a video solely about how the writing for The Acolyte was some of the worst in recent memory. And I think it's important to focus on that because some chronically online individuals really do think that like a black actress on screen matters to anyone, and they'll accuse you of isms because of their own brain rot. But a separate part 2 is in the works, talking about the show's creator, Leslie Headland, and how she doomed the show from the start with her insane worldview, which is revealed in those interviews. That one's taking a long time. Like, I'm having the same problem as part 1. Where do you stop? Do you stop with the daddy issues? Do you stop with the I was raised in a religious household and now I'm deconstructing my religion and I post a lot on r/atheist? Do you stop with the obvious sexism? Do you stop with the weird obsession with lightsaber penises? Where does it end? Because the well is so deep with this woman. Another recent example is the atrocious American Society of Magical Negroes and its writer-director, Kobe Levy, who should be kept away from still bodies of water, lest he starve to death.
Your stool, quite frankly, is pathetic. Formless, mushy, and foul-smelling.
So I read and watch the interviews to be certain that I'm not inferring attitudes that aren't actually present, and these creators are so excited to self-snitch about how selfish their products are. There was a recent uproar over the future of Netflix's Bridgerton adaptation. Now, a good amount of my audience are guys, so let me break this one down for you, fellas. Bridgerton is based on the wildly popular Regency-era book series of the same name by Julia Quinn. Think Jane Austen, but a bit more salacious. There are carriage rides, and then some carriage windows get foggy. The books feature a recurring cast, but each title focuses more on one of the titular Bridgerton family siblings. The most recent season of the show introduced Francesca Bridgerton, who will be the main focus of an upcoming season. Francesca is a widow and feels like an outsider because she is not only introverted, but she's also an ancient old lady, like 27 or something. I'm not sure why she doesn't have a cane and a jar of Metamucil. But the old bat gets a second chance at love when she meets Michael. But the show was totes unique and subverted expectations when she instead had a meet-cute with Michaela. Naturally, the audience was divided and the showrunner Jess Brownell explained the decision. Quote, "My approach to telling a queer story on Bridgerton has been to look at the books for thematic cues. I didn't want to insert a queer character for queer character's sake. I want to tell a story that accurately reflects a queer experience. And the first time I read Francesca's book, I really identified with it as a queer woman." When speaking about how no adaptation can please everyone, she said, "Because Francesca's books resonated with me in the way that it did, it felt like a natural adaptation." Honestly, Brownell should probably not go to any carnival mirror mazes lest she becomes so turned on that the police have to be called for public indecency. Once again, we have a show about the showrunner. Francesca appeals to many women who read these books. Some are widows or divorced, wanting to move on and find love again. Some feel awkward because of their romantic past and its baggage. Some women are introverted and enjoy seeing Francesca find her guy because they also want to find romance but don't like to jump into social situations. And some women are lesbians and may feel awkward about dating and relate to Francesca for that reason, such is the case with Brownell. Here, we see the broad appeal of a character or theme narrowed down to one little category because that's what appeals most to the creator. It's not about any of you, it's about Jess. I also love Martin's predictions coming true here when she explains how she was prepared for the backlash. I understand that people are very attached to the way the books are. The books will always be there, and those stories are unchanged. So while book fans will always have their Michael, it felt like queer fans didn't have anyone in either the books or in the series who was really featured to relate to. Oh, what was it Martin said? The book is the book, the film is the film, they say, as though it was something profound. It's like he had a crystal ball. Now, with Jess and Leslie, many of the changes are about their homosexuality because that's the identity du jour, it's what makes headlines. But the core issue is above that and remains the same for them and others. They took an existing property and made it about themselves, not the audience. This is actual theft and fraud, and that language is fully warranted. This is why many of these products are failing, by the way, because the audience is tired of their time and their money being stolen by fraudulent claims. These people take a name, brand, and story that is well known and then change it to suit themselves. Jess Brownell completely admits that book fans simply aren't as important as herself and people like her. She used the cover of a well-known brand to insert herself. That's fraud. You called it Bridgerton, the audience was expecting Bridgerton. You gave them something else. You called your show Wheel of Time. Customers were expecting Wheel of Time, and they got something else. That's fraud, Rafe. A quick note on adaptations, because people love to strawman adaptation criticism. An adaptation does not need to be a shot-for-shot remake, but it does have to stay true to the themes of the source. One major theme in Wheel of Time was cooperation, especially between the sexes. The show threw all of that away. Tolkien's Middle-earth is a place of polarized morality. It's filled with epic tales of good versus evil. When you see this, Rings of Power Season 2 will have been out for a few weeks, and that show is fraud as well. They called it Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, and the characters share names that the audience is familiar with, like Elrond and Galadriel and Isildur, but they delivered a product that does not share themes or characteristics with the material that it was taken from. They defrauded the audience by using a familiar name to misrepresent that product. And wow, is it boring!
I hope you're hungry. For nothing.
But they have to, because it's the only way they can make it. The lead writers for Rings of Power have no talent or experience to speak of. Patrick McKay and J.D. Payne have 0 writing credits before Rings of Power. They have a handful of jobs that never saw a screen, large or small, and they worked at Bad Robot for J.J. Abrams, who then recommended them to Amazon. Guys, I think I know where all the mystery box storytelling in season 1 came from. IMDb will tell you they've been working on a Flash Gordon reboot for a decade, and nobody wants that other than John Bennett and his bear Ted. Beyond that, they have a handful of uncredited contributions to Jungle Cruise, Godzilla vs. Kong, and Star Trek Beyond, which was completely rewritten when Simon Pegg came on. So with this extensive resume, it should come as no surprise to anyone that these two were handed the largest fantasy franchise in existence, the most expensive television show ever produced, and told to have at it, right? Ben, what do you think Amazon wants to say to the writing duo at this point? Give me my money back. As with so many recent productions, this thing bears no resemblance to its source material, and but for the name recognition of the brand, would not get a fraction of the attention that it got. Of course, that's not saving it because the audience, for some crazy reason, was expecting both Tolkien and epic, and they instead got a meandering, plodding, desolate bunch of nothing. Characters they didn't care about or actively dislike, in the case of Galadriel, and a plot that forgot what it was doing until the last few minutes of the final episode. It's no wonder that only 1/3 of initial viewers ended up finishing that first season. And now we know the second season opening attracted half the number of viewers as the first opening. And given how incredibly boring the second season has started, I anticipate that number to continue to fall quickly. Part of that viewer drop-off will be me. I'm not it's not even worth watching to make fun of in videos, and I'm getting paid for those. Oh, I might have to, though. All right, so I stream every other Tuesday with Echo Chamberlain on his channel, along with Despot of Antrim. You should check us out, by the way. It's a really fun show. And, I mean, we're probably going to have to keep talking about it. It's a big news item. I don't want to watch any more of this show. I can't explain to you guys how boring it is.
I'm not strong enough.
I am happy to see justice being served. However, these fraudulent products are failing for the most part. I'm glad that much of the audience is waking up, or at the very least, they're just getting bored. Not even the defenders can muster the energy to watch this schlock in the name of owning the chuds, which is why the view numbers are so low, despite so much social media squawking about how the haters are all wrong. It's actually so good, you guys. Just about everywhere you look, Hollywood is banking on the name recognition of existing properties with existing fan bases, but routinely handing them to people who either don't care about or actively dislike the source material and its fans because they only love themselves.
I was all by myself.
But the news isn't all bad. Some people are still trying to give the audience what they want, even if it's not perfect, and I'm happy to see that they are being rewarded. Dune, for example, gave us part 2 this year and saw a highly favorable response. Visually and audibly stunning, Dune Chapter 2 was extremely enjoyable. Are there critiques? Sure. Did I enjoy it? 100%. It was a great time, and more important, it brought the themes of the book to the screen. The audience seems to agree. Not only did it pull in $700 million worldwide, but it boasts largely positive reviews as well. Some of the good news comes in the form of abandonment, but it signals that there are people fighting for us. Henry Cavill left The Witcher, and it was widely reported that he got into multiple arguments with the writing staff over the wild changes that were being made to the source material. Even before these spats became public, the quality of the show was obviously falling in Season 2, and the numbers reflect it. Not only did fan scores of the season drop, but the view numbers did as well. Season 2 lost 20% of the total views from Season 1, which isn't great, but also not the end of the world. However, Season 3 lost another 35%, bringing the third season totals to half what the first season got. Now, I recall watching Season 2 a few years ago before all the drama leaked, and it was very okay. I didn't hate it, but I wasn't loving it like I was trying to make myself. You know, now we know why it felt off, and I'm pretty sure I didn't even watch Season 3. And I'm glad Cavill left and chose the fans. Season 4 is coming next year, maybe, with Liam Hemsworth trying to fill Cavill's shoes. The first trailer dropped 3 months ago, and here is the like ratio for that. Yikes. That's a lot of downvotes, and it's funny to see, but I hope those people don't actually watch. We shouldn't go where we aren't wanted. Likewise, Amazon's Wheel of Time is a creation of the Dark One, but we saw our hero Brandon Sanderson fighting for us, even if to no avail. He didn't even want to watch the second season, that's how bad it is, and his initial viewing of it is in this live stream full of his complaints about the script and the direction that they went. Later on, he told a Chicago Expo audience that he fought hard against the changes to Perrin especially, but he didn't have the power to change it.
Sorry about Perrin in the show, it's not my fault, I tried. Oh, how I tried.
I'm optimistic that it taught him how a show can mess up a book, and the Mistborn show appears to be in development hell. And I would like to believe that it's because he has more control over that one, and he's not going to sit around and let Ellen be Ellen, or let the Koloss be an allegory for the American police system, or some such nonsense. Now there's someone who knows what the audience wants. We want pretty things. You can see a few of his gorgeous leather bounds behind me, and soon the tabletop RPG that I probably won't even play will grace these shelves, along with the miniatures.
I'm so happy.
And the 5th book in his Stormlight book series is coming this December, and I highly recommend that you get into it. Sanderson might have also taken some positive influence from a well-received adaptation. A year ago, One Piece was turned into a live action, and it was phenomenal. One big reason is that the manga creator, Eiichiro Oda, was heavily involved and had creative control. He understood that 300 chapters of his creation needed to be condensed and adapted to 8 hours of show, and a few events would need to be rearranged. However, he also understood the spirit of the story and his characters and left them intact, I'm told. For those of us with no experience with the source material, it remained an excellent show, proving that fans can be served as well as a general normie audience. In gaming, Baldur's Gate 3 continues to top charts, proving that we do want excellent single-player, story-driven experiences with deep, satisfying gameplay. There have also been some excellent Souls-likes that offer a great experience. That's my favorite. Lies of P blew me away last year. More recently, there is Black Myth Wukong, which has nothing to do with sexuality or diversity, by the way, yet journalists are trying to make it about that for some stupid reason. The smear campaign didn't work, though, and it is dominating in sales. And we're getting a DLC now. Before we leave, I want to bring back someone who has been far too absent from the channel.
Hey gang, good to see you again. Listen, the failings that we've talked about, they all have something in common. They were selfish. Success is great, feels good, it's wonderful, but you don't get there by serving yourself, you get there by serving other people. In the case of media, they need to be serving their audience. In the case of you, I don't know for you, but you got to figure that out. Whether it's your spouse and your kids, your boss, your customers, your friends, probably all of the above. The people in your life need help, and the person that gives it gets rewarded. Look, you put your time and your money into the things that you value most. I know, that's a big shocker, right? But remember, everybody else is doing the exact same thing. So if you want to be successful in whatever way that you define that, you've got to make yourself valuable. And here's the really bad news. You don't get to decide what valuable looks like. The people you're trying to serve do, and then you meet their needs. That's it. That's the key to success. Yours for free as a token of my appreciation for you watching. I'll see you next time.